Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jacob Fry. I'm the mayor of Minneapolis, and I'm standing here along with our incredible Labor Standards Enforcement Division, our Civil Rights Department, and a number of incredible community partners that have made sure that we're able to do this work hand in hand with community. So the quickest way to erode trust in government is to pass laws that you don't intend to enforce. And so when we passed a minimum wage back in around 2017, and when we passed Earned Sick and Safe Time, it wasn't good enough to just have these laws on the books. We needed to make clear that we were going to enforce those laws on behalf of the workers that benefit from them. And so when a business receives extraordinary work and they get all the talent and dedication from an individual worker or workers on the collective, they should be paid. They should be paid the minimum wage. There should be compliance with city, state, and federal law. And if you don't comply with those things and those workers don't get the monies that they're deserved, what that's called ultimately is stealing. And we need a division within the city and community partners that are tasked with making sure that the workers get the wages that they've already earned. And so I'm here today to proudly announce that because of this incredible team that we're standing along here with, we have recovered now over $2 million in unpaid wages for workers. That is about 1,000 cases. That's 16,000 workers and 382 settlements. 1,000 cases, 16,000 workers, and 382 settlements, resulting in over $2 million in unpaid wages that have been restored to the place where it's deserved most, which is in the hands of workers. Now, importantly, the Labor Standards and Enforcement Division doesn't just get workers the money that they're already due. They make sure that companies around the city are abiding by Earned Sick and Safe Time. They're making sure that workers are getting treated fairly. They're making sure that businesses also have an understanding of what they're supposed to do, because sometimes you got a business that is doing something malicious. They know what they're supposed to be doing. They know they're supposed to pay workers, and they don't. You also have a bunch of businesses that just make a mistake. And when that happens, we want to make sure that we're uplifting their work as much as possible. We're informing them and communicating with them and educating them on what the law actually is. And then we step in to make sure that we're helping them to achieve full compliance. Like I said, this is not easy work, and it's been our Civil Rights Department, our Labor Standards Enforcement Division, and a number of other entities that have pushed for this co-enforcement model and have helped us out. One of them, and they're here with us, is SATOOL, and they've done great work along with AWOOD, with NJP, which is New Justice Project, and then ROC-MN. And with this partnership with the city, we're able to go directly to community. We're able to work with people that have these relationships that are already built in, and then there's renewed trust. And so again, $2 million worth of unpaid wages that have been restored to where they are due, which is the workers that have earned them. I want to thank all of the leaders that have helped us get to this point. Big thank you to our community partners who are here with us today. Thank you so much, and you'll hear from them shortly. Big thank you to our COO, Margaret Anderson Kelleher, our Civil Rights Director, Michelle Phillips, doing an incredible job, our Labor Standards and Enforcement Director, Brian Walsh, and then Patricio Cambia from SATOOL, who will also be speaking shortly. Again, thank you so much, everybody, for the participation in the work. And with that, I have the honor of turning it off to Director Michelle Phillips, who I got to say is incredible. The work that she is doing in this department, which is inclusive of but not limited to labor standards and enforcement, is unbelievable. It's a lot of work that is on her shoulders right now, and we certainly support her 100% in making it happen. Thank you so much, Director.
Thank you again, Mayor Fry, and thank you for everyone for coming. I want to first acknowledge the incredible work that this division has done. The Labor Standards Enforcement Division is phenomenal. They are small but mighty. There are 6 staff members. So our community partners with SATOOL and others is extremely important and vital to make sure that we get this work done regularly. Civil rights is a human right. It is a part of the social fabric of the city of Minneapolis. It is a part of who we are and what we do. So we are the people's investigators in our department, in our division. We are here to ensure that the rights of our residents, of our businesses, of our workers are enforced and that they feel supported every step of the way. We are impartial. We are fair. We utilize the ordinance to guide what we do and how we do it to ensure that we come out with an outcome that is important. But it's not just the enforcement of these labor standards laws, our ordinance, and our policy. It is education. We must also go out, as Mayor Fry said, and educate small businesses who may or may not know that there are potential changes in our labor standards laws at the state level or any ordinance changes. We have to be proactive because we want folks to do the right thing for the right reasons. It is extremely important to continue to invest in this amazing program and partnership with our community members as we continue to move forward. We are not just Civil Rights Department and the Office of Police Conduct Review. A lot of folks understand that civil rights is a part of police oversight and enforcement. But we also do amazing work with our other divisions that is inclusive of Labor Standards Enforcement Division. We want to reaffirm that commitment to everyone that we are here to provide this service as a tool that the city of Minneapolis has for its residents and the individuals that work and do business in this city. I want to acknowledge Deputy Director Kayla Mincanadera, who was the interim director of Labor Standards Division for 9 months prior to our director coming back to continue the amazing work he started. I want to acknowledge the entire division who is here, as well as our community partners who continue to do the work that they do. Mayor Fry and his administration for the investment, as well as City Council, to continue on with this amazing work. I want to thank you all for coming, and I would like to now introduce our Director of Labor Standards Enforcement Division, Brian Walsh.
Thank you, Mayor Fry and Director Phillips. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brian Walsh. I am the Civil Rights Department Deputy Director in charge of Labor Standards Enforcement. Thank you all so much for being here this afternoon. Labor and employment practices in our modern economy are evolving faster than ever. And of course, the legal systems that regulate them must keep up. Practices such as no access of any kind to any paid sick leave for sick workers, sub-minimum wages, and underpayment or no payment of exploited workers undercut honest employers, destabilize communities, and force everyone else to pay the price. If wage and sick leave violations are left unchecked, everyone is harmed, including the vast majority of employers doing right by their employees and playing by the rules. By remedying these types of violations and fueling investment in the city's workforce, we all win in the end. Enforcement at the city and elsewhere occurs in a variety of ways, including technical assistance for small businesses, workers speaking up for themselves, organizing or taking legal action at their workplaces, occasional criminal prosecutions in egregious cases, and of course through regulatory investigations at departments of labor and in the City of Minneapolis Department of Civil Rights Labor Standards Enforcement Division. Our talented staff of investigators in the Minneapolis Department of Civil Rights always lead the way. Our investigations are a testament to their dedication. Here are a few examples of what we've accomplished recently. We received allegations late last summer of 3 workers that were denied overtime pay throughout the duration of their employment, despite often working long hours past 40 in a work week at Amigos One-Stop Grocery Store in South Minneapolis. That employer cooperated with our investigation and agreed to a settlement, delivering over $43,000 in back wages owed to workers. The employer also agreed to changing its employment practices moving forward. This case was brought to light only through the city's collaboration with worker liaisons at CTUL or CTUL. Without this partnership, vulnerable workers would not likely have stepped forward or participated in an investigation. We will hear from one of them in just a few minutes. Another department investigation recently revealed almost no access to sick leave of any kind for workers at two related companies, unparalleled parking and unparalleled security. As we learned during the pandemic, working while sick endangers everyone, especially in food and customer service or customer-facing industries. Following this investigation and settlement, more than $145,000 in back wages owed to 180 security guards and valet attendants were recovered. That's real money going back into the pockets of hard-working people here in the city of Minneapolis. In a third case, the department identified 7 workers being paid sub-minimum wages while serving children and families at Plymouth Academy Preschool. The employer cooperated and reached a settlement with the department, returning more than $22,000 in back wages to the 7 workers and raises moving forward. This case was also brought to light through our community partnership with CTUL. We rely on our partners to empower hourly workers to assert their rights just like everyone else. Unfortunately, now is a moment in our country when the most vulnerable are being swept aside and targeted. However, residents and businesses across the city of Minneapolis know better and do better. We encourage everyone to report labor violations by dialing 311, reporting online at the Minneapolis Department of Civil Rights website, or visiting us in City Hall, room 239. Investigations routinely include entire workplaces to ensure everyone is protected and whistleblowers can remain anonymous. The city invests in assistance for small businesses and partners with organizations like CTUL to reduce barriers to accessing justice. Luisa Yela is here today to say more about that partnership and the experience of affected workers.
Good afternoon. My name is Luisa Yela. I am an organizer with Centro de Trabajadores Unidos en la Lucha, otherwise known as CETUL. I am proud to be here today to highlight the important milestone in LSED's work and our partnership with the city to ensure that all workers in Minneapolis know their rights and have safe and dignified workplaces. Every day at CETUL, we hear from workers who have experienced exploitation in the workplace, particularly wage theft. Every dollar of stolen wages is a dollar less that workers have to cover their basic necessities such as food, rent, and diapers. Wage theft continues to be a rampant problem, especially for low-wage workers and marginalized communities. And we're glad to see the city continuing to invest and ensuring that basic labor protections are enforced. Minneapolis is leading the way in effective enforcement by investing in programs like co-enforcement. Through this partnership, centers like CETUL, Rock, Minnesota, and New Justice Project, who have established deep and trusting relationships throughout our community, collaborate with the city to share our tools and skills so that vulnerable workers who are most likely to experience these violations, but are also the least likely to report them, have the resources and the support that they need. When workers know their rights and can speak out without the fear of retaliation, we build a culture of labor standards compliance all across Minneapolis. While I can tell you the statistics about wage theft and the importance of LSED and our co-enforcement work, the only people who can tell you what it's like to experience these labor abuses are the workers who have lived through them themselves. Crispin Guzman Cruz came to CETUL with 2 of his colleagues, and after months of investigation and diligent work by the city and continued support from CETUL, Crispin and his colleagues were able to recover over $45,000 in stolen wages. Please help me welcome Crispin Guzman so that he can share his perspective and his story. I will be interpreting as he gives his testimony.
Mi nombre es Crispín Guzmán Cruz. En el 2024, yo junto con otros dos compañeros de trabajo, pasamos por una injusticia trabajando en una tienda en Minneapolis. Trabajé ahí durante 2 años, trabajando 7 días a la semana, a veces más de 12 horas al día. En todo ese tiempo nunca me pagaron las horas extras, a pesar de que trabajaba más de 80 horas por semana.
My name is Crispin Guzman Cruz. In 2024, I, along with 2 other coworkers, went through an injustice working in a store in Minneapolis. I worked there for 2 years, working 7 days a week, sometimes more than 12 hours a day. In all that time, I was never paid overtime, even though I was working over 40 hours, over 80 hours each week.
Este empleador se aprovechó de nosotros, nos humilló públicamente y nos despidió injustificadamente. Perdimos nuestra única fuente de ingresos, que no solamente a nosotros, sino también a nuestra familia. La experiencia fue increíblemente angustiosa y nos sentimos perdidos sin saber qué hacer, a quién acudir.
This employer took advantage of us, publicly humiliated us, and fired us unjustly. We lost our only source of income, one that took care of not just us but our families. The experience was incredibly distressing, and we felt lost, unsure of where to turn.
Tras hablar con un organizador de CETUL, supimos que no estábamos solos y que muchos trabajadores se habían enfrentado a las mismas injusticias. Durante meses, CETUL y el LSED trabajaron duro para llevar nuestro caso y pudimos recuperar más de $45,000. Hablar de esta experiencia es revivirla. Es difícil para mí. Los abusos que sufrimos siguen siendo un recuerdo doloroso, un corto profundo en nuestros corazones.
After speaking with an organizer from CETUL, we learned that we were not alone and many workers have faced the same types of injustices. For months, CETUL and LSED worked hard to handle our case, and we were able to recover over $45,000. Talking about this experience and reliving it is difficult for us. The abuse we endured remains a painful memory and a deep cut in our hearts.
Sin el apoyo de la ciudad y de CETUL, no estoy seguro dónde estaría hoy. Agradezco tanto a CETUL y al CEP el trabajo que hacen para apoyar a los trabajadores de Minneapolis.
Without the support of the city and CETUL, I'm not sure where we'd be today. I am grateful to both CETUL and the Labor Standards Enforcement Division for the work that they do to support workers across Minneapolis.
Mi mayor esperanza es que otros trabajadores no tengan que sufrir lo que sufrimos nosotros. Espero el ayuntamiento siga invirtiendo en los trabajadores y garantice que Minneapolis sea el lugar donde los trabajadores reciban un trato justo, cobren lo que se les debe y tengan unas condiciones laborales dignas. Gracias.
My greatest hope is that other workers don't have to suffer the way that we did. I hope to see the city continue to invest in workers and ensure that Minneapolis is a place where workers are treated fairly and paid what they are owed and have dignified working conditions. Thank you very much. Hand it back to Mayor.
Thank you. And we'll open it to any questions you might have.
Mayor, this $2 million, was it just in 2024 that it was recovered, or what's the timeline?
The $2 million is since 2017, when the Labor Standards Enforcement Division was started, and this also comes quickly on the heels in 2017 of several workplace policies that we had set up. Prior to 2017 and 2016, we largely didn't have labor standards that were enforced in the city separate from that which we had at the state. And what we saw is we created a minimum wage in Minneapolis, and then a minimum wage was increased and adopted statewide. We created Earn Sick and Safe Time in the city, and then Earn Sick and Safe Time was adopted statewide. And so to answer your question specifically, no, it's not in the last year, it's since around 2017, but this represents a whole lot of work. And it also takes a little while to get these programs and the laws up and running. And so since then, obviously the work has expanded and actually accelerated. Thank you, everybody. Yeah.